The last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav are underway at the moment. This is in Saifai, which is his village. In fact, several leaders have gathered today for the last rites of the tall leader from Uttar Pradesh. Thrice Chief Minister of the state, Mulayam Singh Yadav, passed away yesterday at a hospital in Gurugram in Medanta. He had been keeping unwell for a long time. A huge crowd, as you can see, has gathered today in Saifai. This morning, in fact, last rites, before the last rites, people could come and pay their last respects to the leader, and after which now you can see, as the last rites are just about starting, you can see that huge crowd still very much there at Saifai, at the cremation grounds there, where Mulayam Singh Yadav's last rites will be conducted shortly at his native village in Uttar Pradesh. There were chants of Netaji Amar Rahe that you could hear all through yesterday and as well today, when people from all walks of life there in Saifai came to pay their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav, the leader of the Samajwadi party. His last darshan, or the last respects that people wanted to accord to him, they also came in today, earlier today, at his residence, where people could pay their last respects. People came in large numbers there, and you can see people there with the red caps. These red caps mark the Samajwadi party members, workers, anyone who believes in the ideology of the Samajwadi party. Their red caps are identified with the Samajwadi party workers. They're gathered. His son Akhilesh Yadav was being, in fact, given some sort of condolence and some sort of paying their last respects to, while paying their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav, people were in fact also going out and reaching out to Akhilesh Yadav as well. Akhilesh Yadav, who has not shared a great relationship with his uncle of late Shivpal Yadav. In fact, he was earlier on seen comforting Akhilesh Yadav while he broke down at the passing away of his father as well. These are pictures that are coming in now from the cremation ground in Saifai, which is the native village of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and people thronging in large numbers over there. In fact, if you take a look at Saifai, the entire village, his native village, was completely transformed by Mulayam Singh Yadav. And today, as people were coming to pay their last respects to the leader, they were recounting the manner in which he had changed the face of Saifai completely, with better infrastructure, as well as helping out people in need in his constituency also. Now, the last rites are to be conducted shortly in Saifai, which is his home town, his village. These are pictures coming in live from there at the moment, and as you can clearly see, the large number of people who have gathered for the cremation of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Meanwhile, let me quickly run you through some of the details that have come in with regards to the leaders who are present for the last rites. The leaders include those from the opposition, as well as from across party lines, as well as people who are in the current government as well. Chief Minister, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Jal Shakti Minister Swatantra Dev Singh, BJP State President Bhupen Singh Chaudhary, all arrived and paid their tributes to Mulayam Singh Yadav. They extended their condolences to Akhilesh Yadav as well. Senior journalist Javed Ansari is now joining us for his perspective. Javed Ansari, the very fact that there are so many people who have turned out for Mulayam Singh Yadav's last rites today are a testimony to the number of lives he touched, not just in his native village, but across Uttar Pradesh, is it?
Absolutely spot on, Maha. You couldn't have put it better. Mulayam Singh Yadav was a towering figure. He was an institution, and the one thing that everybody must learn from Mulayam Singh is how to cherish and nurture relationships. He had built cross-party linkages but for his people, but for his party cadre, I mean, he was the next thing to God. I've seen the kind of, in fact, I remember a time when both of us were in Lucknow at his party office, and the kind of crowds that he used to draw, the kind of devotion that he, and I can spot in this crowd, and I know for sure that there are many people, even from BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, and BJP, with Congress, who've come there to pay this respects. He had personal relationships. He touched people's lives. And the great thing about him was that he remembered names of ordinary workers in far-flung places, not just in Saifai and Etawah, the neighboring districts, from across UP. He knew Samajwadi Party workers by name, by first name, and he would always refer to them. He had an amazing relationship. And what he's done to Saifai, I can think of only one other constituency, that is Baramati. Baramati and Saifai stand out as an example of he's built Saifai from a scratch. We refer to it as a village, but there's nothing, the kind of infrastructure that exists now in Saifai is an envy for most towns. People talk of smart cities. He's built this one. He and then Akhilesh, and in the years that he was chief minister, that he was minister, he ensured that Saifai, and the people of Saifai always came number one for him. Even, I know of Azamgarh, which is my neighboring district, when Mulayam Singh, he just filed his papers and didn't go there. And he won the elections. That's the kind of command that he had over his people. That's the kind of loyalty. He was a man of fierce loyalties. He stood by his people through thick and thin, and they paid him back in equal measure. They stood by him. Even in his adverse times, even when he was out of power, they were always there for him. He could count on them, and they could count on him. And I'm not sure if that's what we can say for a lot of our today's politicians.
Absolutely true. Javed Ansari, I'm not sure if you can see the pictures, but amazing visuals over there. You can see people sitting on tops of buildings as well, because the entire area, there isn't a patch left where anybody can now walk in towards the cremation ground, because it's completely packed with people. Wherever you can see in those pictures, you can only see tiny heads all over. Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, is also with us, as well as Yogendra Yadav, political activist, former president of Swaraj India. Neerja Chaudhary, I want to go across to you quickly, because I want to understand from you what really marks a great leader. The fact that he has so much affection and respect from the number of people, the common people, or leaders from across party lines.
Yeah, I think I would say that he was truly well and truly a mass leader, connected to his people, and this outpouring that we see after his death. And remember, he'd not been very well for almost 10 years. And still, the kind of affection and love and homage that people are now today paying him. He was a street fighter, started off as a wrestler, a real street fighter. And thinking about how we will remember him in the future, I say that he was really the presiding deity of backward politics in Uttar Pradesh and North India over 25 years, a quarter of a century, which spawned regional parties like his, the Samajwadi parties, RJD, and several others, and led to coalition era, which ended really in 2014. So Mulayam Singh, a very senior leader of the BJP, had asked me, or had said to me before the recent UP elections, he said, if Mulayam Singh Yadav had been keeping well and had been active, we would have had real trouble in UP. So he was a presence, and that is the way the BJP saw him. And I think slowly these people are going away, and for all their faults, it's not that he wasn't criticized for Parivarwad, dynasty, several other things he was criticized for. But India will miss him.
Let me go across to Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav, since Neerja Chaudhary touched upon the point of dynastic politics, but many would also say, look at the manner in which he empowered so many people, because I heard a lot of people in Saifai today talking about how some of the villages near those places in Etawah, the entire village was not even educated. Nobody had gone to school. The sense of empowerment that people of this strata get when a leader rises from the ranks to the top and becomes the chief minister. Help us understand that empowerment.
Absolutely. I fully agree with what Javed Saab and Nirjati have said. I think it's important to see someone like Mulayam Singh Yadav ji as representing a historic process. There are two historic processes that I would like to underline. One is, of course, the Mandu process. Today, you see one Yadav chief minister here, another Yadav chief minister in Bihar. You see Yadav as a community asserting themselves in many ways. But please remember, this was not the case in 1960s. This was very much the era where upper caste in North India would just assume that it is their right to rule. All the parties were dominated by upper caste. And breaking through that caste stranglehold was so very difficult. And it is in this context that someone like Mulayam Singh Yadav, from an ordinary family, modest background, one of the few graduates, not just in his own village, I think he was one of the first graduates in a number of villages around Saifai. He rose there from a modest background, a pehelwan by passion, a teacher by occupation to begin with. He came up and he led the process of the rise of hitherto excluded communities to political power, specifically the OBCs. These are agricultural communities who had some land, who were beginning to get some education, but who didn't have much say in political power. Mulayam Singh Yadav ji became the representative. So a very tall leader, although he was very short in height, but a very tall leader in his stature. The second process that he represented, and something we tend to forget, is the Samajwadi Andolan. While we remember the communist movement in this country, we remember the Sangha Parivar of this country, we forget that there was a third movement, the socialist movement, led by people like Ram Manohar Lohia and Jayaprakash Narayan. Today, incidentally, is Jayaprakash Narayan's anniversary, 120th anniversary of Jayaprakash Narayan. This movement, for the first time, foregrounded issues of caste justice, social justice. And it is through the socialist movement, socialist party led by Ram Manohar Lohia, that through the 60s, they fought and fought and fought against established caste system, entrenched caste system. So someone like Mulayam Singh Yadav ji reminds us, his early days, his early struggles, remind us of an era where political workers came from ordinary families. They struggled for their ideas, they suffered, and an ordinary karyakarta could occupy top positions. That is the Mulayam Singh I would want to remember. That is the Mulayam Singh I would wish to cherish. Although on a day like this, everyone would talk of the positions he held, of the major decisions he was involved in. The journey is an incomplete journey, as Nirjati has hinted. It's an incomplete journey because while certain kinds of OBCs did rise to power, other OBCs, and especially Dalits, could never become part of that permanent alliance. But then every leader does a few things and leaves a few other things for the next generation to do.
But he started the process, as you are rightly pointing out, Yogendra Yadav. Nijay Chaudhary, also the fact that he was seen as somebody who backed the minority community as well. How significant was that in his politics?
October 30th, 1990, when the car sevaks had gathered in Ayodhya. And you remember, you may not remember, but this is a famous statement he'd made. Ek parinda bhi nahi main aane dunga Ayodhya mein. And he prevented the car sevaks from getting atop the masjid at that time. And there was the police firing and 12 people had died. And but the minorities after that, after October 30th, 1990, minorities saw him as a savior, they stayed by his side. And then he forged the MY combination. So he was part of, he was an inheritor of the benefit of Mandal report that VP Singh implemented, VP Singh as Prime Minister implemented in 1990. But he then took it forward, this whole empowerment process, first of the Yadavs, then the Muslim Yadav combination, adding a smattering of others, of the OBCs to that combination. And as I say, you know, this spawned a quarter of a century of a different kind of politics where these communities had a voice in Delhi. And Mulayam Singh was one of the vehicles to make that possible. So Mandir, federalism, strengthening federalism in the country, because the regional parties had a say in national politics. There were many things. And of course, you know, he built up people, his colleagues, even if they left him, they came back, he gave them Rajya Sabha. Of course, there was the whole period of Amar Singh, which took him in a different direction altogether. Again, as Yogendraji was not directly saying, but hinting. But overall, you know, we say this very glibly, you know, when a leader goes that a phase is over or era comes to an end. But well and truly, I think a phase does come to an end with Mulayam Singh Yadav. Phase in Uttar Pradesh certainly comes to an end. And Akhilesh Yadav has succeeded him. And Mulayam Singh's Chhatra Chhaya, you know, the overarching umbrella over Akhilesh's head, even when he was unwell and not playing an active role, I think that is going to make a difference to the future politics of UP.
Okay. Okay. Javed Ansari, you were there when the fight between Shivpal Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav came to a head. Now, for a man today, where a sea of people have gathered for his last rites, for his cremation, how difficult was that time when there was a split in the family, which virtually led to, you know, his brother launching his own party, a split in the party as well?
Look, one of the enduring disappointments of Mulayam Singh Yadavji's life was the fact that he couldn't affect a permanent rapprochement between his son and his brother. His wish, if somebody asked him his last wish, it would have been that these two should bury the hatchet and work together. He tried very hard, both behind the scenes and up front, to try and get them together. They came together, but there was so much of, I mean, the rift could barely be healed. Mulayam Singh brought about a seismic change in the politics of Uttar Pradesh. And what I would remember him for is also his ability to take tough decisions. You know, it's very easy to flow with the tide, but he stood against the tide of popular opinion at times, took tough decisions. Not all of them were, he was human after all, so not all of them were right. But look, who could have given Phulon Devi a ticket? He did. Look at the way he acted in Ayodhya. And look, he was a symbol, and like Nija and both Yogenji said, he gave minorities, beleaguered minorities in Uttar Pradesh, a sense of security. I remember the time when Babri Masjid was demolished. And soon after that, I was at a gathering. And the common refrain there was, कि मुलायम सिंह होते, नेताजी होते, तो नहीं होता. So that was the kind of respect, and that was the kind of awe and you know, loyalty that he commanded. And I can say without any hesitation that there will be many homes in Uttar Pradesh today where the home fires will not be lit.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Javed Ansari, you mentioned that rightly. We heard a lot of people there saying that this time in Saifai, there's going to be no Diwali in any house because most of the people there who were paying their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav were breaking down. So one can actually see the kind of connect he was able to make with the people. And you also pointed out to us how he would even remember people's names. Yogendra Yadav, how significant is this characteristic among among leaders, because I remember when the fight between his brother and his son was happening actively in Lucknow. At one point, he went inside to address the party workers, and I happened to be there, and I could hear him address the party workers while the doors were shut. He was talking about how his son is not listening to him, and he was very candid with them. It almost appeared like he is, this is his extended family he was talking to. Did this quality of his make him different from other leaders?
I think it's very much the quality of that generation of politicians, leaders, for whom politics was not a designed activity. There was something spontaneous about what they said. There was something genuine about what they believed in, and there was something raw, something unpolished about their actions, and that lack of polish made it that much more authentic. Mulayam Singh ji, as Javed Saab reminded us, knew almost every worker of his party by name. He could connect, and anyone in their hour of grief, hour of difficulty, could walk up to Netaji. Netaji, ye problem hai. Netaji would do something about it. So there was a human connect. There were genuine emotions. There were raw disagreements. There was straightforwardness about things. Things were not designed for presentation. Things were not. You didn't feel as if you were looking at something that was manufactured by a media consultant. These were real things. I'm afraid we are passing from one era of politics. Nirja ji mentioned about an era. It's also an era. Link it back to someone like Mr. A.B. Bardhan of CPI. So you cut across different political parties. It's not just one party. These were karyakartas. These were workers who rose up from the rank, who worked hard, who believed in what the ideology of their party was, and they.
All right. As you can clearly see over there, a sea of people there as the last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav, the Samajwadi party leader, about to start. Let me go across to Sanket, who's joining us live from Saifai. Sanket, these pictures that we can see are simply amazing, if I can put it that way. I mean, wherever we are seeing in the visuals that you're sending us, we can only see people. Take us through what people around you have been telling you all through the morning as they came to pay their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav.
Maha, you see from the highs and the lows of the Samajwadi party, and even before the Samajwadi party in its previous avatar, Mulayam Singh Yadav has earned this for himself, and this is a legacy which no one can take away from him. I mean, yes, there will be many people who will talk about the various controversies, the family feud, the drama, which he could not control till his last breath. I mean, that fight between uncle as well as son continues to this day. But, the investment that he made in people and the response that he has got from those people is what you can see in those pictures. You speak to anyone here, and since morning, I don't know, I've lost the count on the number of people who say, he from a stage called me by name. Now that is a huge thing for people, for a leader to remember a person, remember the person's village, and then draw that conclusion and say it from the stage out loud in front of, say, 30, 40, 50,000 people is a great connect. And that has been the motivation for many to come here to Saifai. Now, Saifai is no ordinary village. I mean, you've been here, you know that this is an extraordinary village. I mean, you have towns in this country, many cities, in fact, which don't boast of so many facilities, from an indoor swimming pool to an indoor stadium, to a cricket stadium, to a football field, to a medical college, which is so huge that it services. In fact, there are many students who come from. There were 3 students who walked up to me and said that we are from Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan. So all sorts of people coming to this place. The main medical hospital over here is servicing the entire area, about 29 Vidhan Sabha constituencies. So obviously, this is a good part of the legacy that Mulayam Singh Yadav has left. And this is the reason why you see the sea of support. His instant connect and what he has done for this region. But despite that, Mulayam Singh Yadav and his Samajwadi party has seen a lot of failings from this very region only. I'm not talking about the whole state. I'm only talking about his birthplace and, you know, the instant karma bhumi, as you say. In 1967, he got elected as the MLA from Jaswant Nagar. The BJP has made major inroads, and this is also a reality. In 2017, in the election, the BJP won 22 of the 29 Vidhan Sabha segments in this region, which was considered a Mulayam Singh Yadav and the Yadav Samajwadi Party stronghold. Even in 2022, in the peak of this mobilization by Akhilesh Yadav, that bus yatra, the Samajwadi Party in its stronghold managed 50% success. So technically, yes, you can say that they've done well, but it is not enough to be able to leave that sort of footprint that Mulayam Singh Yadav, or the imprint that Mulayam Singh Yadav and his brand of politics was all about. So, you know, that forces many to ask a very basic question: how relevant is brand Mulayam and his politics in contemporary times? And will Akhilesh be able to live up to that legacy and take it to the next step? I'm not even getting into corruption allegations, law and order, Gunda allegations. Those are different aspects of perhaps the checkered legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav's leadership. The great politician that he was in the centre, maybe Javed Ansari can talk more about it. We've reported that extensively. Who can forget 2012 when the presidential election was happening? Mamta Banerjee was sitting in 16 Ashoka Road, inside his house, talking about anyone other than Pranab Mukherjee. And then Mulayam Singh Yadav excuses himself, goes to 10 Janpath, and from there is a declaration that Samajwadi Party is supporting Pranab Mukherjee. And a red-faced Mamta Banerjee is sitting in Mulayam's house. So he was known to take these twists and turns suddenly. One day he'll support the BSP, the other day BSP will become sworn enemy. One day BJP will be a huge problem, and as recent as 2019, you have Mulayam Singh Yadav praising the Prime Minister and saying that it's your people connect that may see you as the Prime Minister one more time. It's a very complicated matrix called Mulayam Singh Yadav's mind. He was an elusive mind. But the point is, how much of his legacy is going to be translated into the next generation? For instance, his alliance partners, Chaudhry Charan Singh, he contested on a seat by on Chaudhry Charan Singh's party. Later, the Bharatiya Lok Dal. Later, of course, in a realignment, Ajit Singh was part of the alliance, Samajwadi Party and the RLD. Now, both scions or the heirs in RLD as well as Samajwadi Party fought this election together. Were they very successful? To some extent, yes, they were able to increase their tally, but to a great extent, in order to defeat, Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. The BJP is a formidable force. So, is Mulayam's ideas, are they relevant? Or is caste politics or, the upliftment of a certain section of the society, which Mulayam Singh Yadav used to talk about, a concept of the past, where you have this huge monolith called the Bharatiya Janata Party, which has been doing all that and much more. So in that sense, his legacy, there can be various chapters written about Mulayam Singh Yadav's legacy.
All right, Sanket, stay on with us. Let me also bring in Sanjay Dalmia, chairman of Dalmia Group of Companies and former MP of the Rajya Sabha. Sanjay Dalmia, you knew Mulayam Singh Yadav quite closely and personally. What would you say was the one quality that set him aside? And if we take Sanket's question there, can his son now take forward that legacy? Sanjay Dalmia ji, can you hear me?
Hello.
Sanjay Dalmia, are you there with us? All right.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go on. All right, we don't seem to have that link with Sanjay Dalmia just yet. Let me go back to Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav, Sanket, all right, let me quickly now, tell our viewers that what they can see on their television screens right now are pictures coming in live from Saifai. Tejasvi Yadav has just arrived there for the last rites. Those visuals just coming in. The last rites are just about to start. Manoj Jha there you can see along with Tejasvi Yadav. Leaders from across party lines, as we were mentioning, are present there today for the last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav to pay their last respects to the leader of the Samajwadi party. Let me go across to Yogendra Yadav now. Yogendra, all right, let me go across to Javed Ansari. Javed Ansari, Tejasvi Yadav there, this is the gen next of leaders like Mulayam Singh Yadav, Lalu Prasad Yadav. All those leaders, today we are seeing the second generation there, of course, at this moment comforting Akhilesh Yadav. But as Sanket was asking, can these youngsters or the second generation take forward the legacy of their parents, and is their politics still relevant?
Well, the politics is relevant, except that you need to tweak it a bit. You see, what the BJP is also built on the same kind of politics, and they've added religion to it. One of the failings of Mandal, how it was implemented, was that only the Yadavs appeared to have benefit. You need to broaden the social base, and that's what BJP has done successfully. So if Akhilesh and if Tejasvi can learn lessons from the past and now, get out of this only MY combination, they need to add other backward castes. Take a leaf out of the BJP's book, broad base it, be more accommodative, bring other castes into the fold, into the ambit. And if you broad base your social base, I'm sure they can do it. They have no alternative, no option but to do this if they want to survive. Times have changed and you need to adapt. You need to be able to adjust to the new ground realities. And the new ground realities are that all the other subordinate castes are also now, they become aspirational. They want their piece of cake, and therefore it's for Akhilesh Yadav and for Tejasvi and all the others. Now it's for the backward leadership to bring these people into the fold, to open up places for them, because there are no free lunches in politics. There has to be something in the power sharing structure for all the castes for that to happen. So yes, they have big shoes to fill, but the option is if they don't, they fail. For them to survive, to remain relevant, they will have to make these changes.
Nitya Chaudhary, but those qualities that we were talking just a short while back with Yogendra Yadav about being able to strike a chord with the party workers just like they were a family. Do the second generation people of these parties that were built on issues like social justice, are they able to strike that chord with the workers? Because at the end of the day, if the parties have been formed through social justice, the idea is that everybody should be considered equal at the same level. Isn't that the tone and tenor that the workers would require from the younger leaders as well?
I think that is correct. And Akhilesh Yadav in the recent UP elections, if you remember, tried to widen the base of the party. He reached out to other communities in a very new way. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had once said this about Mulayam Singh. He said, my party people berate him and, criticize him. But what we need to appreciate about Mulayam Singh Yadav is how very hard he works. And that is true. He was also a 24/7 politician who rose from the ranks. And I think the younger generation perhaps has that to learn from the old guard who is now fast disappearing. And I would agree with Javed. They need to now, you see, the Mandal phenomenon is going down. It's not ended. The power is devolving to the most backwards. So they have to move from the OBC's Yadav dominant Yadav, Koiri, Kurmi dominant politics to the MBCs, the most backwards, which the BJP is going out of its way to woo. Also, the Prime Minister has talked about not just, reaching out to the Pasmanda Muslims or to the Mahadalits that Nitish Kumar reached out to. So I think, as I said, power is devolving and every community, however small, now wants a piece of a share in the pie. And the aspiration, there is an aspirational revolution that's on in India, which needs to be recognized. So Akhilesh Yadav, Jayan Chaudhary, and others like them, I put a great deal of store by them that they will try and fill this gap that has been left by their parents.
All right, I think we have Sanjay Dalmia back with us on the phone line this time around. Mr. Dalmia, I wanted to ask you about the most significant quality according to you, since you knew him very closely and personally. All right, we seem to have lost our line again with Sanjay Dalmia. We'll try and get him back on the line. But right now, these pictures that you can see on your television screens are coming in from Saifai. There's a sea of people out there today to pay their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav, the Samajwadi party leader who passed away yesterday in a hospital in Gurugram. In fact, since yesterday, people have been pouring in to pay their last respects. We have with us back on the line Mr. Sanjay Dalmia. Sir, I was asking you about the fact that since you knew Mulayam Singh Yadav personally and closely, could you highlight for us what you felt were very remarkable qualities in him that set him apart from other leaders?
Narrate one incident. There's no doubt he was a very good friend of mine, and he left for his habitual abode yesterday to join his leader, Dr. Lohia, whose 10th anniversary is on 12th, just 2 days before he left for to meet his leader. But one incident I would like to highlight in this. You see what happened after Ayodhya, there was a Goli Kand, and Babri Masjid issues was there. So all the BJP leaders, including my father, were arrested. So obviously my mother was very upset, and because I was a member of parliament, so she said, क्या हो रहा है ये? पिताजी तो ठीक रहेंगे, नहीं रहेंगे, क्या होगा उनके साथ? मैंने कहा नहीं, मैं मुलायम सिंह से बात कर लूंगा, वो तो अपना धर्म निभाया है, पर मैं बात कर लूंगा, पिताजी को कोई तकलीफ नहीं होगी। जैसे ही मेरा फोन मैंने बंद किया, मुलायम सिंह जी का फोन आया मेरे पास। बोले मैंने पिताजी को और सबको जो बर्ड सेंचुरी है कानपुर के पास, वहां पे रख दिया है, ठीक है ना? मैंने कहा जी बहुत अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि मेरे को वही चिंता थी कहीं उनको तकलीफ नहीं हो, बाकी आप अपना धर्म निभा रहे हैं वो तो अलग बात है। तो वो बर्ड सेंचुरी जो है वहां पे पिताजी को रखा, बाकी सारे एडवानी जी वगैरह सब उसी में थे। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है। मेरे को लगा कि मैंने उनसे बोला नहीं, उसके पहले उनका फोन आ गया मेरे पास। हेलो
जी संजय डालमिया जी, ये बात हमें काफ़ी और लोगों ने भी बताई कि जिस तरह उनका एक आपसे तो उनकी जान पहचान बहुत अच्छी थी, लेकिन और लोग जिनको वो बहुत अच्छे से भी नहीं जानते थे, लेकिन उनके नाम याद रखना, वर्कर्स को पर्सनली एड्रेस करना उनके नाम से, ये ऐसी खूबियां थी जो हर लीडर में नहीं पाई जाती हैं। पॉलिटिकली आपको क्या लगता है कि उनकी सबसे बड़ी अचीवमेंट क्या थी?
उनकी सबसे बड़ी अचीवमेंट ये थी कि जो चीज़ उनको उनके उसमें न्यायपूर्ण उनको लगती थी, उस पर वो अडिग रहते थे, उस पर वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ नहीं करते थे। मतलब आज पॉलिटिक्स में इतने लोग हैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ करते हैं ऊपर चढ़ने के लिए, उन्होंने कभी कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ नहीं किया। उन्होंने कहा कि ये मेरी धारणा है, दिस इज माय व्यू पॉइंट, आई डोंट वांट टू कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन दैट वेदर आई विन और लूज। सो इवन इन ड्यूरिंग इलेक्शन or otherwise, he got a lot of opportunities, but he never compromised. And this is one of the quality which I admired in him. And I mean, whenever he used to ask me, I used to say, yes, of course, why should we compromise? We believe in a particular thing, right or wrong, that's a different thing. But whatever we believe, we should stand by it. So that was a very big quality. Otherwise, you know, in politics today what is happening, people do compromises for getting ministryship or whatever. The Mulayam Singh never compromised. I mean, he lost his CM-ship 3 times. He became 3 times, he lost it 3 times. But he never compromised. Only once in 2012 when he won with a full majority, Mulayam Singh could have been the CM, but he made Akhilesh. That's all right, because that is to prepare the next generation. That is it. That's the way it should go on.
That's right.
Yes, so
Sanjay Dalmia,
quality, I think.
right. Sanjay Dalmia, I'll request you to stay on with us, sir. Shahid Siddiqui is also joining us on the other line, and I want to take a question quickly from him as well. Shahid Siddiqui, today as we see these pictures coming in from Saifai of the last rites, and we can see Defence Minister Rajnath Singh there present for the last rites. Of course, Ram Gopal Yadav there from the Samajwadi party himself. But it's fairly remarkable that leaders and significant tall leaders cutting across party lines today, paying their last respects to Mulayam Singh Yadav. What, according to you, and since you have been involved with the party, have interacted with Mulayam Singh Yadav, what do you think gave him that kind of persona where he was able to strike a connect with those from different parties pretty easily?
So, Mulayam Singh Yadav was old times leader who did not compromise on ideology, but otherwise he was extremely flexible. He treated his opponents as opponents, not enemies, and he went out of his way to even help those with whom he disagreed very, very strongly. I've seen it not once, again and again and again, whether it was a Kalyan Singh or it was a Bahuguna or VP Singh or the Congress leaders or others, he used to go out of his way to help them. And today, if millions of people are coming there, they are not coming there just because they have lost a leader, because they have lost a father. He used to behave like a father or elder brother to his workers, to those leaders around him. He used to take personal care of their issues, their problems. If somebody is not getting married, he will be worried why you're not getting married, how to get him married. If somebody doesn't have a house, he used to see that he gets a house or a job. So he used to take care of everybody around him. But more than that, he used to take care of his opponents, because he believed that democracy will survive if you take care of your opponents. Sanjay ji talked of the Ayodhya Goli Kand. I asked him, I interviewed him at that time, and I asked him, why did you allow that to happen? Because you will lose a lot of support among the Hindu population. He said, look, I was not helping anybody. I was not even trying to save the mosque. I was trying to save the constitution of the country. मैं अपना राज धर्म निभा रहा था. So Raj Dharam, about which Atalji used to speak, he was actually always believed in the Raj Dharam, because when it came to his responsibilities as a chief minister, he did not compromise. He was ready to lose his government. He did lose it many times. And I also remember that he would have been the prime minister at least twice. He had all the support. He had the MPs behind him. The Harkishan Singh Surjeet, who was given the task of getting the views of the MPs, agreed that majority wants Mulayam Singh as the prime minister. But when some other leaders put their foot down, when other leaders didn't want Mulayam Singh did not break the alliance. Mulayam Singh did not go against the unity of the opposition. He agreed. He gave up his position to be the prime minister. It's not that he didn't want to be the prime minister. Of course, he wanted to be the prime minister, but at the cost of opposition unity, not at the cost of his ideology. And that was the greatness of Mulayam Singh, that for him, commitment to his ideology, to his beliefs was very, very firm, but otherwise he was ready to compromise. He was flexible. I remember when, he had tremendous disagreement with Congress party, but when it came to the brass tacks in 2008 and left withdrew the support from Manmohan Singh government, it would have fallen on the nuclear issue.
Yes.
But Mulayam Singh changed his position, supported the government, because he believed that at this juncture, bringing down the government is not in the national interest. So that was Mulayam Singh. He was ready to adjust and compromise on issues, on power, but not ready to compromise on ideology and principles.
All right, a point that has been made both by Shahid Siddiqui as well as Sanjay Dalmia there, both knew him closely, saying that even though he may have been flexible, he did not compromise on his ideology, and that really set him apart as a leader. These pictures, let me quickly also point out to our viewers, coming right from Saifai at the moment, where the last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav are being conducted. At the moment, a sea of people, thousands upon thousands there present in Saifai to bid farewell to Mulayam Singh Yadav. The last rites underway at the moment. From the centre, you just saw Rajnath Singh, Defence Minister, present there for the last rites. Samajwadi Party leaders present there. Of course, other leaders from the second generation, as we were pointing out, Tejasvi Yadav, you just saw him there walking towards the cremation ground as well. There are just so many people that you can barely even be able to catch a glimpse of what exactly is happening at the current moment as the preparations for the last rites have started. There is just this entire area is simply packed with people, and in the visuals that were coming in earlier, you could also see people atop buildings there in Saifai, just trying to get a last glimpse of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and as the funeral is taking place, to be able to witness the cremation as well. Let me go back to Javed Ansari, who's also with us over here. Javed, we can also see, sir, many people, of course, wearing those red caps of the Samajwadi Party. But today, is a day when people are in mourning, and we have seen so many people breaking down, the ordinary people in Saifai breaking down. Now, one would argue that leaders make mistakes, and Mulayam Singh was no different. He had made his own mistakes. But for those people, for the people in Saifai, in Etawah, what did Mulayam Singh Yadav mean to them?
Look, he was a savior, he was a father figure, he was many things, and it would be, unfair to limit his scope and reach only to Etawah and Saifai. Of course, he was from there, and it all started from Saifai, but his reach extended to every corner of Uttar Pradesh and even beyond. And I know of many people I can see in the visual recognize, and also I've been speaking to many people. There is a BSP MP who at some point of time used to be in the SP as well. And while I was speaking to him on the phone, he started crying. And it was, I was just taken aback. He's been out of the SP for many years, but Netaji had that kind of, he said Netaji was just very special. He had that kind of equation with people. It appears to me as I've lost a father figure, a guardian, and he just choked and then started crying. Yeah, you can see Mallikarjun Kharge and Pramod Tiwari, and I saw Kamal Nath, I saw Jaya Bachchan, even Sharad Pawar, all these people. It's a testament. It's an example of the cross-party linkages that he had, that despite his political differences, he maintained these human relations. Because I'm from that state, I happen to interact with him a lot professionally, and I met him about 5-6 weeks ago, and his memory had started fading him, and he says, I'm very angry with you. I said, what have I done for you to become angry? He says, no, you stopped visiting me. Earlier you used to come every day in Lucknow. Now, I've never served in Lucknow, and but that was Mulayam's way of showing affection. And he just held on to my hand for those 10-15 minutes that I spent with him, and so that was the kind of man. He would always remember people's names. He would always address workers by the Maha. You will recall that meeting in the Samajwadi Party office where he was addressing his party workers in the midst of that turmoil that he was taking place. And there were arguments. They were questioning him. They were asking questions, and they were talking angrily to him, and he was asking them to keep quiet. And there was a lot of this, but there was that apnapan. There was this homely feeling to it. And in the end, all of them said, okay, Netaji is saying so, let's accept it. Deal done, they will walk out. So that was the kind of spirit if he took a decision, he stood by it. And for a lot of people, not just the Yadav community, even others from the oppressed and amongst the minorities, he was a savior. He shielded them. He was that great bulwark between them and those inimical to them. And so I can just imagine what they must be feeling.
Javed Ansari, I'll just interrupt you there for a bit. I believe that the proceedings for the state funeral have started. Let me quickly just ask my director, to put up the sound and just get a glimpse of what is happening in Saifai at the moment. These are pictures coming in of the state funeral that is being accorded to the three-time former Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mulayam Singh Yadav, who passed away yesterday. His last rites being conducted at the moment in Saifai, his native village, where there is a sea of people gathered to pay their last respects to the leader who brought for them and marked a process of empowering them through the movements of social justice to politically bring the community into the political mainstream in Uttar Pradesh and elsewhere. These people all gathered to pay the last respects to their leader Mulayam Singh Yadav today, and those proceedings are underway in Saifai at the moment amidst thousands of people who have gathered there for the cremation. Several leaders are present there as well for the last rites. Many of them you could spot, even though there is this huge crowd that has gathered, amongst which it is becoming extremely difficult to be even able to spot the leaders or the last rites that are being conducted. As you can see, those it's getting hard for the camera persons as well to be able to make their way through this crowd and get any closer shots of those proceedings in Saifai. But at the moment, we can get some sort of glimpse of the wreaths that are being sent across for the leaders to lay before the last rites or the cremation officially starts. Neeja Chaudhary is with us, Shahid Siddiqui is with us, as well as Javed Ansari. Shahid Siddiqui, coming back to you. You know, just the sheer number of people who have turned up today. And of course, many would argue that this was his native village. But the fact that people from across the country have today, many leaders flown in to Saifai, also shows the kind of connect that he had, which you've already mentioned with leaders across the party lines. But I want you now to talk about the connect that he had with his own people, his own community, and as well as workers of the Samajwadi party.
As I said earlier, that he behaved just not like a father figure. He was the father of a lot of workers, in fact, most of workers. He took personal care of people. I remember when his wife, Akhilesh's mother, expired, I was in Saifai, and thousands of people were coming to see him, to meet him. He was very upset, but he was asking Shivpal ji and others to look after the people, seeing khana sabne khaya ke nahi khaya, रहने की जगह किसकी है, वो उसका इंतजाम करो. So he was more worried about the people. So that was his nature. That was the wonderful thing about him. And another great thing about him was that you could fight with him, you could disagree with him, you could publicly say, Netaji, मैं आपसे agree नहीं करता, Netaji, आप गलत कह रहे हैं, and he will he will scold you, he will disagree with you, he will fight with you, but he will forget about it as soon as the debate is over, and you will never feel that he took it to the heart. That's not the case with most of the leaders today. But Mulayam Singh ji, I've disagreed with him many times, fought with him openly. I remember once one of our ministers was caught doing something extremely wrong, and I was called to a channel, and I was the spokesperson of the party. And there I said, this man will not, he was a minister, I said he will not remain a minister by tomorrow morning. And Mulayam Singh ji called me. He said, मुख्यमंत्री आप हो कि मैं हूँ? मैंने कहा सर आप हैं. He said, आपने उसे कैसे हटा दिया? मैंने कहा कि मैंने सोचा कि ये तो अब रहना नहीं चाहिए. So far as I know, उन्होंने कहा अब आपने हटा दिया है तो अब मुझे हटाना ही पड़ेगा. So in order to keep my word on TV, he removed that minister, although that minister was very close to him. So that was the style of Mulayam Singh, and that's why we are crying today. I mean, for us, we have lost a father, a brother, somebody, a guardian who used to look after us.
All
so
right.
that kind of
Shahid Siddiqui, I'll just interrupt you there, sir, because the pyre is going up in flames now. The last rites being conducted, pictures coming in from Saifai as the last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav are being conducted. A state funeral there being accorded to the former three-time Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh amidst a sea of people who have gathered there, many with tears in their eyes today as they recount the manner in which they were able to connect with the leader despite him being the top leader of the party, a former chief minister, a former minister in the central government. He was able to have that kind of connect with his party workers, because of which a sea of people have gathered today in Saifai for his last rites, which are underway at the moment. Shahid Siddiqui, sorry I had to interrupt you there, sir. Go on.
You know, lost the track. But anyway, he was, yeah, the point I was making was that he was flexible to the extent. I remember when he joined hands with Kashiram, it was me who said that, sir, now you have to join hands with Kashiram in order to defeat BJP after the demolition of the Party Mandir on 6 December 1992. And on 14 December, he came to my house to meet Kashiram. He made the first effort. He went out of his way to join hands with Kashiram and defeated BJP. Somebody was saying that he was responsible for the emergence of BJP. I'll say he was responsible for keeping BJP out of UP and out of Indian politics for at least 2 decades. So he was uncompromising on secular issues. He was uncompromising on socialism, and moreover, he was extremely realistic. He realized in 2012 the election was won by Mulayam Singh. He would have been the chief minister, but he realized that he has to prepare the ground for the next generation. He realized that he is not in the best of health anymore, and therefore he decided, although it was a very difficult decision for him, because Shivpalji had been working from his day one.
All right, I'll have to interrupt you there, I'm afraid again. Yeah. Rajnath Singh is speaking. Let's listen in.
काफी अजीब सा एक काफी इमोशनल डे है, क्या कहना चाहेंगे आज के दिन?
नहीं, वैसे ऑलरेडी मुलायम सिंह यादव से हमारे बहुत ही अच्छे रिश्ते थे और समय समय पर हमारी उनसे बराबर मुलाकात भी होती रही, चाहे वो मुख्यमंत्री रहे तब भी, नहीं रहे तब भी, जब मैं मुख्यमंत्री था तब भी उनसे बातचीत का सिलसिला हमारा चलता रहता था। और मैं मानता हूं कि भारत की राजनीति की एक बहुत बड़ी वह शख्सियत थे और जन सामान्य से जुड़े हुए लोग, धरती से जुड़ा हुआ नेता यदि माना जाता था तो मुलायम सिंह जी को माना जाता था। अब उनके जाने से मैं समझता हूँ भारत की राजनीति की एक बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई है और आज हम सब यहाँ पर सैफई में उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करने के लिए यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं। आज मैंने यहाँ अपनी तरफ से भी रीत रखकर श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की है, वहीं हमारे देश के आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा भी, क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे कहा था कहीं वो बाहर है कि मेरी तरफ से भी ये रीत उनके उत्सव पर रखी जाए और मेरी तरफ से भी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की जाए। दोनों काम किया है।
सर, आज बहुत ही भावुक क्षण है, कोई वो क्षण जो आप लोगों ने वैसे तो बहुत पार्लियामेंट हो या फिर राजनीतिक गलियारों में समय एक साथ बिताया, उत्तर प्रदेश की राजनीति से आप दोनों ही आते हैं।
मैंने रिश्ते इस प्रकार के थे कि कभी वो प्रतिपक्ष की तरफ साइड में बैठे होते थे और कभी मैं इधर रहता था, तो कभी कभी मैंने देखा कि वो सीधे उठकर जो है मेरे आके बगल में बैठ जाते थे। उनको इस बात की चिंता नहीं थी कि सत्ता पक्ष इधर बैठता है और प्रतिपक्ष इधर बैठता है, बल्कि मैं इधर बैठा रहता तो आकर मेरे बगल में बैठ जाते थे और अपनी सारी पुरानी बातों की चर्चा करते थे।
पिछड़ों की राजनीति की पिछड़ों की आवाज उठाई मुलायम सिंह यादव जी ने। एक राजनीति में क्या एक शून्यता कह सकते हैं, एक शून्यता है उनके जाने से?
नहीं, स्वाभाविक है, एक बहुत बड़ी क्षति तो हुई है, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि यह प्रकृति का शाश्वत नियम होता है कि जब कहीं कोई गैप होता है, कहीं रिक्ति होती है, तो उसकी पूर्ति भी होती ही है, लेकिन बहुत बड़ी क्षति हुई है।
All right, Rajnath Singh there, a politician from Uttar Pradesh, of course now a minister in the centre, but knew Mulayam Singh Yadav really well, even though he belonged to another party, and that is why he was talking about the manner in which Mulayam Singh Yadav was able to strike that chord with others as well, saying he would just come to the other side of the treasury benches as well to in fact be able to talk to people from the opposition parties as well. That was the kind of chord he struck with the people. Still with pictures coming in from Saifai, you can see the plumes of smoke rising from the pyre there. The pyre has been lit, but with the sea of people around, it's one has been barely able to get a glimpse of the pyre itself. That just shows the extent to which the people have gathered today in Saifai at the cremation grounds. Now, after the funeral is, after the cremation is over, now people now moving out of those grounds. But this picture, the visuals right now give you a sense of the number of people who gathered today for the last rites of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Neerja Chaudhary, Shahid Siddiqui and Javed Ansari still with us here. Let me go across to Javed Ansari now. Javed, you know, as I was pointing out, we were barely able to get a glimpse of the pyre just because of the sheer number of people there. Even I understand the VIPs finding it hard to be able to make their way in or out because of the sea of people around. Clearly today is, as many have pointed out earlier, end of an era in a sense?
Well, certainly. And like Rajnath ji said, that politics abhors a vacuum, and I'm sure in the fullness of time, Akhilesh will emerge and at least do his best to fill that gap. But Mulayam Singh Yadav ji's shoes are too large, are very large. Just look at the crowd. This is typical Samajwadi party, typical, you know, their celebrations, their mourning, everything happens like this. You know, this is evident. This is testimony to the kind of connect that Mulayam Singh. These are not, you can't hire crowds like this. You can't ferry them in buses and expect this kind of, this is spontaneous. This just reflects the kind of connect that he had, even with common people, with politicians, with political rivals, with celebrities, with people from just across the thing. For the last couple of years, last at least 5-7 years, he's been pretty inactive, confined to his house. But even then, there would be a stream of people in Lucknow and even in Delhi who just come to meet him. He wasn't able to talk too much, but yet people were just happy that he waved to them or said a word, kaise ho, kya ho. And he was, it's very difficult. There are not too, you can count the number of such people around now on your fingertips. There aren't too many of them around. And Shahid Saab worked with him. He was a colleague, so he would be able to give us greater insight into his relationships. But it was amazing. You know, he was at loggerheads with the BJP, yet had good personal relationships. He had problems with the Congress, yet there was a tremendous amount of, he had a personal equation with the Gandhi family, with Sonia Gandhi, especially with Priyanka. I remember meeting him during the course of the last elections. So I asked him, I said, you know, he had difficulty structuring conversations and sits together, but even in that, he says, ये प्रियंका जो है ना, ये है, ये मुझे राजीव जी की याद दिलाती है. And Rajiv Ji was apparently, Mulayam had struck up a very good equation with him. In fact, Rajiv Gandhi believed that he had almost persuaded Mulayam Singh to ditch Chandrasekhar and to tie up with him, and they could go, and 6 months down the line, they would go and face the UP elections together. But Mulayam didn't agree. Mulayam said yes to him, left his house at 4 o'clock in the morning, reached Lucknow in the morning by the state plane, drove straight to the Raj Bhavan and asked for the dissolution of the assembly. So he was that kind of person, unpredictable at times, but nevertheless, a really, really tall figure. And, you know, as days go by, his absence will be felt even more.
Absolutely. For his party workers, his party members, his family, of course, that's going to be a reality now they'll have to contend with, because earlier on, for any advice, so to speak, on political issues, even when Akhilesh Yadav and his uncle Shivpal were fighting, they would go back to Mulayam Singh Yadav. Now that kind of an overarching role of the advisor, which was held by Mulayam Singh Yadav, that over for them. How will Akhilesh take things on from here? That's an issue that will continue to be debated and discussed. But Shahid Siddiqui, talking specifically about the contributions of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and Javed Ansari said that don't restrict him to Etawah or Saifai. But I just want to, you know, understand the aspect of the contribution, which is very... All right, let's quickly listen to some more reactions coming in, and then I'll go back to Shahid Siddiqui.
आज जिस तरीके से लोग उनको श्रद्धांजलि देने आए, उनके प्रति अटूट आस्था, उन्होंने वंचित गरीब व्यक्तियों के लिए सेवा की, पिछड़ों के लिए उन्होंने लंबा समय तक नेतृत्व किया। एक समाजवादी व्यक्तित्व के रूप में एक ऐसे स्तंभ का नहीं रहे जिन्होंने जिंदगी भर गरीबों की हिमायत की, किसानों की हिमायत की। आज सारा देश दुखी है, हम सब भी दुखी हैं कि जिन्होंने समाज में एक लंबे समय तक सामाजिक और राजनीतिक जीवन के अंदर जनता का विश्वास भरोसा जीता।
All right, there you have it. Speaker Om Birla also there in Saifai speaking with the media about Mulayam Singh Yadav. Shahid Siddiqui, coming back to you. If we just take Saifai as an example, and as Sanket was pointing out just a short while back, that it's, you know, hardly what one would associate with a village. It is better than many of the towns in the country. Would you say that he created Saifai in a manner in which the people around there would also feel a sense of empowerment, that these amenities, these facilities, this infrastructure is not just meant for either the upper castes or the more well-off people or those living in towns and cities, but it belongs to all. And that is also a very important path in social justice.
See, not only infrastructure, he loved the people of Saifai. He wanted to bring the best of everything to them, including culture, including music. So every year in December, he used to have this Saifai festival where he used to bring the top stars of Bollywood, the musicians, the rural musicians, the singers, the poets, the artists, the painters, everybody to Saifai, and he used to, you know, showcase Saifai as example for whole of Uttar Pradesh. And he wanted to entertain. He loved music. People don't realize he loved music. Every meeting of Samajwadi party, we used to have half an hour or hour of music and dancing and singing. So he was not just a very dry person. He loved to joke. He was full of jokes. And I tell you that there is not a single village in Uttar Pradesh where you will not find people who will believe that they were very close to Mulayam Singh. He had this quality, peculiar quality. Very few leaders have this quality, that everybody thinks that I am the closest to Mulayam Singh. So he was able to give this message to every other leader that he was very close to Mulayam Singh. Mulayam Singh used to hear him, take advice from that person. So that kind of feelings, if leader is able to give, then leader becomes very powerful. People are ready to give their lives for that leader. And that kind of leader Mulayam Singh was, that people were ready to give life for them. And not just the Yadavs and Muslims. I know of so many Brahmins, of Rajputs, of Gurmis and others who die for Mulayam Singh. And apart from that, I mean, his differences with Kalyan Singh, but he brought Kalyan Singh into the party fold, had differences because of that. I've seen many times that, he asked top leaders to come and, say sorry to Janeshwar ji if he felt that Janeshwar was upset on anything. So that kind of man he was. So he was not just a political leader. He was a man who was able to bring out the best from you. He was a great, judge of people's character. So he was he knew kisse kya kaam lena hai. And as everybody agrees that he worked with the best of his opponents. We all know that he had very close relations with Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. And when it came to the selection of the president, people wanted Shekhawat ji, people wanted others. But Mulayam Singh suggested to him the name of Dr. Abdul Kalam, because Dr. Abdul Kalam had worked with him in the defense ministry when Mulayam Singh was the defense minister. And Mulayam Singh was very impressed by the work of Dr. Abdul Kalam. And Mulayam Singh told Atalji that he will be the best person to be the president of India, and Atalji agreed with that. So he was the kind of man with whom the left and the right, the RSS and the Naxals, everybody was ready to talk and take advice from, and he used to give honest advice to most of them, keeping aside his own interest or of his party. That was the greatness of Mulayam Singh, and that's why people had faith in him.
All right, Shahid Siddiqui, Javed Ansari, Neerja Chaudhary, all of you, many thanks for joining us with your anecdotes as well as those small nitty-gritties about the character of Mulayam Singh Yadav that set him apart from other leaders, that made him the leader that he was, of Netaji, as he was lovingly called by his party workers and the others as well. And that is why a sea of people there present in Saifai today for his last rites. Those pictures coming in from Saifai. We're taking a very quick break now. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.